Ready to go? Everyone, welcome to another episode of Coffee with Father James. I'm drinking from my Our Lady of Guadalupe coffee mug because I want to update you on a significant development in our parish involving our parish staff. But I decided to walk while I did this video because I've been very much in the habit of walking over the last 2 weeks. Many of you know I just get back from my vacation, and on my vacation I walked what I'll call the second quarter of the Camino de Santiago. That's the early medieval pilgrimage route to the tomb of St. James. But people came from all over Europe and walked, and so to this day it's still a very popular pilgrimage route for people of faith and people who are searching. And so with a couple of friends I walked, I think it was 227 kilometers over 8 days. So it was actually, when people said, "Are you rested?" It was like, well, physically exhausted, but mentally, emotionally rested. The only burden I had was my backpack. So there's something very freeing in that. So I figured I'd walk and talk with you today. Because of the rapidity of change that we experienced at our parish over the last couple of months with staff and especially Jen discerning to go and work for the Archdiocese, and with my schedule for the summer and such, we underwent a search for replacing our director of social outreach. And when we hired the position, rather than waiting for me to get back, we thought it would be best to get that person into play as soon as possible, because there's a sharp, or rather a steep learning curve. There's a lot of moving parts in this job. And not only the whole area of social outreach, which involves supporting the ministries that operate from this location and have for many, many years, Feed Others of Dartmouth, the food pantry, but also the everything that's happening in the North Dartmouth location with the House of Hope and the food bank and Nourish and the mobile food mart, and supporting our partners. And so there's a lot going on there, and we thought it'd be best to get the person to start right away. So what has happened as a result of that is that our new staff member was hired and started working, but there was a minimum of communication. Some of you may have picked up the announcement that was in the parish newsletter that our new staff member for this role is Brian Funson. Funcion. That's how you spell his last name. And Brian, so Brian he started last week. I just had a meeting with him today. He's a wonderful guy. Brian is newly arrived within the year from the Philippines. So he's one of a Filipino Catholic who comes with an incredible richness of experience in ministry. He worked in a variety of roles, but for many, many years he worked as a full-time missionary with the Filipino movement Couples for Christ. And Couples for Christ are an evangelistic Catholic renewal movement that has members all over the world. And he was a full-time missionary in the Philippines. He went to South Africa. He's got experience running conferences and supporting and developing small groups and leadership initiatives and projects for building houses for the poor. And he just brings this incredible wealth of experience. And what we're doing with the position that at one point was a full-time position, because we had to downsize our staff, the defining responsibilities for this role are still the responsibilities of the social outreach coordinator, but we can only afford to put half of Brian's time towards that. Because we've downsized our staff, he needs to take on other portfolios as well, other responsibilities, and we're still discovering what those responsibilities will be. So Brian, you see a picture here of Brian. He's and his wife, and he's got 3 young children. He was coming to our parish occasionally over the last number of months, also going over to Mass at the Basilica, but you will now begin to see him around. So please welcome him. Let's welcome him and his family to our parish, and let's give him our support. If you're involved, have been involved in social outreach ministry in any way, Brian would love to meet you. He'd love to sit down with you and learn about what makes you tick, what your passion is, what your hopes are, and he wants to support you in what you're doing. So please reach out to Brian. You see his email right here. Send him an email if you're engaged in social outreach activity. And one final thing, one obvious strength that Brian brings is the fact, well, he's Filipino. And you may have noticed that our parish now is about 25% Filipino, and we haven't done a good job of engaging those new Canadians, engaging those new parishioners that have so much to bring to the life of our parish. And Brian is certainly excited to do that. So please pray for Brian and his family, and pray for a fruitful ministry and for a fruitful time of learning. And let's try to support him and help him to do just that. So thanks everyone for your time, and God bless.